useEffect hook in React is the hook that we are using to run side effects inside our components. And one thing about useEffect is that it runs after the component has been re-rendered. To illustrate this, I have a simple component which is having a number declared using useStateHook and a button to increment that. As you know, changing a useState variable will re-render the component. And we have two console logs. One is inside the JSX, the other one is inside the useEffect hook. If I go ahead and click this button, you can see the rendering JSX log is displayed first, followed by the running effect log, which means the rendering is always happening first, followed by the useEffect execution. This behavior shows that useEffect is acting synchronously. It always synchronizes itself with the rendering cycle. Suppose if you want to do something at the time of rendering, before the screen is repainted, that is when you use the useLayoutEffect hook. The useLayoutEffect hook is pretty much simple to the useEffect hook. The only difference is that it executes at the time of rendering, unlike useEffect, which is happening after the rendering process. Now let's see how we can use the useLayoutEffect hook inside our components. First we need to import it. Import useLayoutEffect from React. Similar to declaring a useEffect hook, useLayoutEffect followed by the callback function. And if you have, you can add optional dependencies. To illustrate the behavior, let's add a console log. I will add running layout effect. Let's go ahead and save that. Now let's click the button and see which hook is executed first. You can see initially the rendering log, followed by the layout effect log, finally effect log. Please take a quick moment to like the video so that it would get recommended for more audience. Subscribe to help us grow on YouTube. Turn on notifications to never miss a video on this channel. One thing I mentioned about the useLayoutEffect hook is that it is executed at the time of rendering before the screen is repainted. To simply illustrate this, we can add an alert to our callback function. Let's now refresh the page and see what happens. You can see at the time of alerting, the screen is not repainted yet. Let's now see how useEffect would behave in similar scenario. Let's go ahead and comment this and uncomment this section, which is having an alert in the callback function. Let's refresh the page. You can see at the time of alerting, the screen is already repainted. With this behavior of useLayoutEffect hook, we can come to a conclusion that it is blocking the screen from repainting. One of the greatest use cases for this hook is that it can be used to perform layout measurements. To illustrate this, I have a simple component which is having a div with a reference created using the useRef hook, styled by a simple object. Now to illustrate how we can measure our div, let's use the reference here, my div.current.getBoundingClientRect, and we will extract the height from it. Const height equals, then log the height. Let's go ahead and save that. You can see the height is being logged in the console. Even though the screen is not repainted at the time of the execution of useLayoutEffect hook, it can provide you with the measurements of the elements. Now let's look at a simple example where we are adjusting the DOM elements using this hook. In this example, I have two components, my component, which is the parent component, and the world component, which is our child component. It is created in a way that it accepts left CSS value as a prop, so the word world can be adjusted accordingly. If you look into the browser, you can see the two words are overlapping. And let's see how to fix this inside our useLayoutEffect hook. I have already declared a variable named left using the useState hook, which is having the default value as 0, and passed it down to the world component. And inside our callback function, if we take a look at the getBoundingClientRect method, you can see it is returning an object, and it has several parameters such as bottom, height, left, right, top, width. And if we go ahead and extract the width and set it as the left, the two words will not be overlapped. Let's extract the width. Set left, width. Let's go ahead and save that. You can see the two words are arranged nicely. The useLayoutEffect can be used to block the browser from repainting, while the useEffect cannot. Similar to any other hook, declare the hook at the top of the component. This cannot be used inside loops or conditions. If needed inside loops, move to a separate component and use it inside the iteration. Similar to useEffect, this can run twice on the strict mode at the beginning. You can also add a cleanup function inside the callback function. Check the link in the description for a complete useEffect tutorial, since all the points are valid for the useLayoutEffect hook also. Since working together with the rendering process, useLayoutEffect hook can reduce the performance of your application. As a solution, only use the useLayoutEffect hook where it is compulsory. This cannot be used with the server-side rendering since there is no layout. That marks the end of this tutorial, and I want to thank you for watching. Please give us a like and subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notifications so you will never miss a video from our channel. Stay safe until we meet on the next one.